And speaking of Mike Sando, he wrote an article today in The Athletic, Rob, that just talked about the toxic nature of the Urban Meyer error, or should we say error? I said error. Should we say error?
Right.
In Jacksonville. One player called it the most toxic environment he's ever been around. And, it really pulled the lid off of what was going on down there in Jacksonville. I'm trying to think of some of the highlights. Rob G, you got some of the highlights. Some of the stuff's already come out. Meyer was really, often threatened to fire coaches, threatened to cut players. DJ Chark said that Meyer feels like threats are what motivate players. So he was always threatening,
You
players.
can threaten college
coaches.
kids, Chris, because you got that scholarship in your back pocket.
Right. Exactly.
You can't do that to grown men. You can't do it who are making millions of dollars.
Here's Rob G with some of the highlights of the article.
Oh, just a few of them for you guys. Number one, saying that, hey, if I cut you guys, you know what would happen? You'd be making $15 an hour.
Oh, nice.
That's number one. Number two, he did not know who guys like Deebo Samuel, Jamal Adams, and Aaron Donald were. According to one source, he said during a film session, who's this 99 guy on the Rams? He might be a problem for us.
Wow. But that's outrageous. I almost can't believe that. Seriously. It sounds ludicrous, because why would you say that in a film session that you don't know who the players are?
Well, was it a film session, Rob G? I thought it was like maybe in the hall, somewhere at the facility, right? Did it say it was a film session?
No, they said he was watching film.
Yeah, they said that he said that he done an extensive 6-month deep dive into the NFL before he got to the pros, and then that's
he
when
didn't know
said.
Aaron Donald.
I didn't think the Aaron Donald thing said he was in a film session.
No, but
he'd be stupid to say that.
He was watching film and he told other people, who is this 99 guy on the Rams?
Right.
He might be a problem for us.
Ask one staffer during the season, it says. But here,
right,
look,
go ahead. What other highlights,
I can understand how during the college season, while he's coaching college football, he is so into college that he's not really paying attention to the NFL. But if you supposedly did a 6-month deep dive, how in the world could you not come across the defensive player of the year all these times? Like, come on, man.
But it doesn't make sense from the standpoint of, you should do, Chris, if you looked and just read ESPN's top 100 players or ESPN's NFL Network's top 50, come on, to say like you don't know who these players are at all is how? Go ahead, Rob G.
Oh, there's a ton in there. I mean, Mike Sando, this is one we
give us some more meat on the bone.
This is one we kind of already knew, that he would belittle members of his staff and question their resumes in front of other players.
How does that help?
Guys that he
Take
hired.
guys' respect away from the assistant coaches, from the position coaches.
Yeah, and then the overall theme was that he liked to lead with fear and intimidation, particularly as it related to assistant coaches. One of them that stood out here, I know what the first one I said about the $15 an hour, that was kind of people took that as a kind of a racial undertone. While another one involving Trevor Lawrence, they were going over some routes with newly brought in receiver John Brown. And according to this report, Urban Meyer told Trevor Lawrence, you got to slow down, Trevor, with guys from the South, because they don't really get things that quickly. The words, the transcripts ain't right, is the word that he said.
Right.
Yes.
That one, and to me, I think context is very important in that one. Like if the receiver's right there, and he's joking with him and laughing about it with the receiver, you know what I mean? Like you can say that in a way where you're kind of joking and playing around, where it wouldn't mean. But if he said it to Lawrence by themselves, and he's serious, it's a whole different thing. So to me, I'd want to know the context of that before I made a judgment on that one. But there was something else I wanted to bring. Oh, supposedly, right, he went off on the player so badly that he made a player cry.
And then he left the room. And he left the room and let other people deal with it. Yes, according to the report.
Here's one thing that surprises me from the player's standpoint.
That the coach
Like, you're
talks
a
so
grown
bad that you're
man.
gonna cry, right?
Well, obviously, yeah, that's one thing too. But at the same time, we're grown men now. Like, you don't have a scholarship now. Maybe it was a bench, guy who had no leverage and could have been cut immediately. But I just would think that a player's like, yo, dude, I will beat you down right here in front of all your coaching staff. Like, I'm just being serious.
Chris, is that the Christian man in you coming out? What is this?
Hey, Jesus ran out the money changers in the temple. Read your Bible. Read your Bible. I mean, but seriously, like, I just don't know that a grown man gonna let another grown man just dress you down like that to the point you're gonna cry. I don't know, man. I don't care.
Well, let me
you are.
say this. I knew that there was trouble from Jump Street because his first couple of moves didn't make any sense to me. And we talked about it, Chris, on the show. The Tebow thing, which was just why fight that battle? You got a 34-year-old guy, never played the position. Like, why are you doing that? Then he hires the racist strength and conditioning coach from what, Iowa?
Yeah.
Like, that was another one, Chris. Like, why is this so important to you? And then they said that they were at the same school. Rob G, you still here? That they were at the same school. And then when the reporters did the research, what was his name? Chris something. What was that guy's name?
Chris Doyle.
Chris Doyle. When they said it, Chris, and they did compared their resumes,
Right.
he wasn't even there when Chris Doyle was there. Like they didn't even overlap.
Right.
But he went to bat for the guy, and he was hell-bent on hiring him. And then the guy had to step down the next day. We was off to a terrible start.
Yeah, it just speaks to a guy that had that old college mentality of I can do whatever I want. Like, he told the kicker, Lambo was his name, I think, that he kicked at practice, I'm the head ball coach, I can do whatever I want. And that clearly was Urban Meyer's attitude. Like, that he could do whatever he wanted. And Rob, remember, right after he was fired, he went on, I think, NFL Network, and he kind of blamed it on society, how society's changed. And I will say this, a lot of the things he did were just flat out wrong and unacceptable. But he is right in that years ago, some of the stuff he did, you could get away with, particularly in college. And that doesn't make it right, but that's how he came up. Now, what I would say is, where you been these last several years? Like, have you been under a rock? You should be able to see that things have changed and things are different. Not to mention you're going to the NFL where you're dealing with grown men. You're not dealing with, as you said, Rob, earlier, kids on scholarship.
Right. And Chris, how many great college coaches had failed that he didn't do his due diligence or work to be like, I don't want to wind up.
Right.
What did Spurrier do wrong? What did Nick Saban do wrong? What did these guys do?
Right.
These were big-time college coaches, and they all failed miserably. What did they do? I need to figure that out so I don't wind up like them.
Yeah, ultimately, Rob, I think it just speaks to arrogance. Like, if you really read this story, that's what it speaks to.
No, he would sound like he was arrogant. Absolutely.
Yeah, and thought he could do whatever the heck he wanted. And even to the point, that, of course, the infamous, situation in Columbus where he stayed over after a game and, got caught with the woman on his lap.
And what did Greg
He clearly
say?
thought
That
he
could
could
never
just
happen
do whatever
with a
the heck
player.
he wanted to. He clearly thought, again, I'm the head ball coach. I can just do whatever the heck I want to and get away with it. And so it was ridiculous. It was just you can't feel bad for him when what happened when you read this story. I mean, it's just like, my goodness. And then even some of the players said he didn't help Trevor Lawrence. He really, put Trevor Lawrence in a bad situation according to some of the players, or at least anonymously that spoke. So